The wrong main image can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars on Amazon, and that's without exaggeration. We find that the main image is the main driver for click-through rate and performance of your listing. And so in order to do that at Seller Systems, we created what we call the main image matrix. Now, the main image can have many different components in it. You can have a model and a lifestyle type image. You can have the components of your product. You can just have the main product very big in your image, or you can even have the packaging. You can have many different combinations of those things. And so what we wanted to do is provide you with a guide on how to create a bunch of different main image templates so that you can test which one's gonna drive the highest click-through rate. Now, Anthony is one of our best coaches here at Seller Systems for teaching conversion rate and click-through rate and optimization of content. And he's gonna walk you through what this main image means and how it works. But this is only a small section of a masterclass he just taught. And if you wanna be a part of the next masterclass or watch the rest of this one, click below in the link.
For this masterclass, what we're gonna do is we're gonna be working on this niche, which is kids binoculars. And we've already gone ahead and created a handful of different assets for this. We're gonna show you some of those today, but we're gonna keep going back to this example. Now, the reason I really like this niche is because it is an extremely competitive niche. What I did is I pulled 30 competitors on DataDive, and you can see here that 14 of them are very strong. From a visual standpoint, this niche is really top-notch. There's a difference of quality as you look across the different competitors, but largely pretty much every listing that is pulled in this niche has strong image assets. And so in order to stand out and be a dominant player in this niche, you really have to bring the bar high. What you're gonna find is that not all niches are created equal. Not all niches have the same level of visual appeal and flow of information. This is especially true as you move outside of the US. Other marketplaces tend to not be as competitive from a visual standpoint. The US is certainly the most competitive market. And so this is also a very interesting niche that it is heavily dominated by Chinese sellers. With that being said, a lot of the images are still really high quality, really good. The other thing too to keep in mind about this niche is the winning products, it's not all going to come down to visual optimization, because you can see here that the median selling price of the niche is like $19. And there's a handful of people that are selling at the like $7, $8 price range, which is like basically half of what the niche median is. And so the reason this is interesting is because I think even if you were to come in and optimize fully for visuals and you had the best possible images, it's going to take a lot of work, I think, with a kid's product like this. If you're selling at like $22, $23 to compete with someone who's selling at like $7, $8, unless you really have a truly superior product. And we'll dig into that a little bit more in next session. But long story short is this is incredibly competitive. It's an incredibly hashed out niche, very strong from a visual standpoint, which makes it good to do an analysis. When we get into the things like image scoring, you're not going to see too much that is not good. You know, you're not going to see anything that's like glaringly wrong. Everything is quite strong. Okay, so that's our introduction. Let's get into step number one, which is our analysis. And this is the categorization first of main images. So if you remember from last week, we covered this. This is our main image matrix. And what this does is it shows pretty much all of the potential configurations for main images on Amazon's platform. So the way that you read this is you just go across and you say, okay, the most simple main image that we can have is just the product on a white background. But we can go down this list and say, well, what if we had the product plus the parts? Or what I'll typically refer to as inclusions. What if we had the product plus the packaging? What if instead of just having the product on a white background, we tried a lifestyle image? Or we had is more of like a in-use lifestyle shot in the main image. It doesn't have to be a full-blown lifestyle like this, but it can be, you can see as I go across, like this is a lifestyle. It's like the kids using the product. What if instead of just having the product on a white background, we showed the product plus a model? The decal ones, I think we're going to show a better example later, but this is like something like the eye candy or a tag. And then this is showing variation swatches. Now, these are not hard and fast rules you can have, and you're going to see in this niche, there are combinations of these. So you can do like the product plus the packaging and a model. And maybe there's a little bit of lifestyle in it, and you're showing variations. And so the name of the game with main image optimization is really going to be, number one, what's currently going on inside of the niche. But then let's say that we wanted to create a main image variation for all possible combinations of this. And we wanted to also create main image variations that were combinations of options here inside of the main image matrix. You're going to see some examples of this. The thought is we don't know what our winning main image variation is going to be until we create a lot of different assets. We test these in advance. And then ultimately our end goal is, after we've tested all of our images against each other and then against the competitors, the only thing we can really do is upload it into Amazon, ideally using Manage Your Experiments to see what's the best possible main image. And we might not get this right on the first round. We might have to test this over and over and over again, and slowly but surely over time, take steps that's going to improve our click-through rate and improve the amount of sessions that we're getting.
Hey, if you're enjoying this content, you're going to love the masterclasses that we host on a regular basis. We've got over 1,000 members in our private community, and over 400 of them are already doing over $1 million. We regularly host masterclasses with hundreds of students, and you can find out more below. Join us.
So looking here in this niche, I've pulled some of the main images here and I've categorized them by type. So I'm just going to jump out of the slide real quick just to show you. Here, if you're in the CTR workflow, this is going through this first step here. Basically, if you're doing this inside DataDive, you can do all of this yourself without using DataDive, but DataDive makes it a lot easier because it's going to show you all of your competitor images all in one spot. Okay, so if you're here inside a deep dive, you go to deep dive, you click these arrows that point in at each other, and now I can see all of the competitor image galleries all in one spot, okay? So what this is telling us here in this workflow is, now we look at our main image matrix, we make sure we understand it, and then what we're basically going to do is make a copy of this sheet, and then we're going to just go through and fill in our main images by type. There's also a section, so you're literally just categorizing these by type. What I recommend doing is, I have 2 monitors set up here. If I'm trying to remember what the main image matrix is here, I'll have like this in one window, I'll have the sheets in another window, and then I can quickly just go through the images one by one, and I can say, okay, this is product plus packaging, etc. So we're gonna go back to the slide deck here, and this is the easiest part. This does not take much, it's not super hard to figure out once you've done this a couple of times. So like this is pretty clearly the product plus the packaging. So here's the product, here's the packaging. You don't need to categorize this like product. There's actually 2 products in the image plus the packaging. You don't need to say like product, packaging. It's just product plus packaging because it's showing us product plus packaging. If this seems really simple right now, just bear with me, because when we get to the secondary image matrix, it gets a little more complicated. Okay, so this is the product plus parts. So if we look at the main image matrix, it's like product plus parts, or I call them inclusions. So it's showing you the product here, it's showing you the bag for the binoculars, and it's showing you the cleaning wipe.